Okay, so welcome. I'm Geza, the CEO and co-founder of Luigi's Box, and I would like to share you a few tips on how to make your eShop better. We will have a series of webinars, so this is the first one that will focus on the generic issues of eShops and tips how to make the UX better. And then we have more detailed webinars on specific segments like fashion, consumer electronics, grocery stores, and so on. Before we start, let me share you a story. This is my daughter, Agata. She's 3 years old. And that's how she looks like when she's happy. One of her favorite meals is this on the right. Maybe some of you know it. It's a semolina porridge, but those who not, it's one of the most common meals in our country. Usually, I go like once in 2 months to the grocery store to buy this meal for my daughter, and I used to spend like 5 to 10 minutes just trying to find this product on the shelves. And finally, I couldn't find it, and I asked the shop assistant to help me. So from the user experience point of view, from the UX point of view, I failed. So I was really unhappy. I think that I couldn't find it, and I come home and my daughter was disappointed, so you know the feeling. But finally, the shop assistant helped me. So if this happens on your store, there is no shop assistant. There is no one that can help the visitor to find the right product. And that's why it's very important to fulfill the needs of your customers. So what will you learn today? First of all, we will describe why UX is important. Then we will go through all the page types that you have on your store, and we will try to analyze which of them are really important and why. We will describe you a few low-hanging fruits, so a few tips on what to make today in order to see the results tomorrow on your store. And of course, we will also analyze the different aspects of desktop users and mobile users. So what is UX? I've been in this field for around 15 years. So I worked in several agencies. We built several eShops, websites, and I understood that the meaning of the word UX was different for marketers, for eShop owners, for designers. So let's discuss what is UX. Many of us think that UX design is the design part, so the visual part of creating a product. The word design in the UX design means that you are creating, like you are designing the user experience. So you are creating a connection between the user and the product. On the right, you can see a nice mug, right? So it's a super nice mug. It looks like a kitty. But if you try to drink from the mug, you can seriously hurt your eyes. And that is a bad UX. So the main purpose of UX is to create a connection between the user and the product, as I already mentioned, but the user has to be in the center of attention. So we need to understand the user's needs. And based on their needs, we need to prepare the way how to use your product or solution. I have another example. Just try to imagine that you are holding a glass bottle of ketchup and you are smashing the bottom of the ketchup bottle, and you're trying to get out the ketchup, right? So this is one way out to get the ketchup out. And try to imagine that you have another bottle and just squeeze it and you get the ketchup out. So you see, these are two ways how to use the product or how to use different products. And the user experience is the feeling that the user has while he is using your product. So one of the products is easier to use than the other one. Both of them are nice. Both of them are nice red bottles with nice stickers, nice packaging, but only one is good to use for you as a user. So why does this happen? Why is UX neglected? Why do we focus more on the visual part? Why do we focus more on the features? So the reason behind this is that we are more analytics driven. So we try to measure everything. We try to Google Analytics to see the results, if we are doing good or bad. We try to build eShops on the technologies that are the newest ones. We try to use as many features as possible just to be more cool, maybe. But we forget about the user. So we forget about that the user who comes to our store makes the purchase. And we need to help them to fulfill their needs and to fix their pains. So first of all, we should get into the heads of our users. So we should try to understand why our user has to come to our store, to our site. What is the pain that I am trying to solve them? Maybe you ask, why should I care? So I have tons of things to do. I need to improve the logistics. I need to spend more euros on campaigns to drive more traffic to my site. I have a lot of things to do, and use is just one part of it. So why should I care? The reason behind this is that a happy customer is a repeat customer. So you are spending a huge amount of money to get traffic to your store, and the traffic just checks your store and leaves the site because they cannot find what they're looking for or what they need. So you are just wasting the money, right? So it's super important that if you already spend the money to get traffic to your site, to fulfill their needs. So which pages should we focus on? You have a lot of pages on your store, a lot of page types, but not all are equal. So let's take a look at all the page types that we think make sense to focus on. So there is the home page, there is the category brand page, there is the product detail page, the whole shopping process with the shopping cart and the checkout, our articles, signups, and of course the search results. So you see that there's a lot of them. I would like to make a quick poll now just to ask you, which pages do you think are the most important? Give me a second. So I think we will skip do it this way. Oh, you can still see the screen, right? Let me check the poll here. I think I have troubles with launching the poll. So maybe we'll do it without the poll, guys. Okay, so back to the presentation. So yeah, so let's look at the results. So what do we think, which page is the most important one? So based on analytical data, we know that the most visits, the most page views happen on the product detail page. So around 30% of page views go to your product detail page. So this is one of the most important pages from all page types that you have on your store. Then we have the category and brand page. So these are the product listing pages where you show all the products from the category or from a specific brand. Then we have the search results. It's 10% of page views. It's also super important. The home page is on the 4th place with 10% as well. So you see the difference. So the home page is only 10% of page views compared to the product detail, which is 30%, so 3 times more. Shopping cart is 10%. So just have this in mind when you are trying to optimize your website. You are trying to improve the UX or the conversion rate, that a lot of pages go to the product detail. Maybe you think that your conversion rate is low and your website is not the best one on the market. But before you say this statement, it's good to understand that the traffic can change the behavior of your users. So if the traffic is poor, I mean, if the traffic is wrong one or not a good one for your audience, I mean, for your customers, then probably they will not buy on your store anything. So if you are evaluating the conversion rate or the success of your store, try to distinguish between the paid traffic, the organic traffic, newsletters, and so on, because all these groups of visitors will behave differently. And I've seen a lot of times that for example, e-shops had high paid traffic, which was performing very bad, and the e-shop owner or e-commerce manager thought that their website sucks because nobody made a purchase there. But the reason behind this was the traffic was poor, and those people did not expect what they saw maybe in the campaign on the site, like on the final site where they come. So keep in mind, traffic source matters. So if you are evaluating it, check the traffic source, check the newsletters, organic traffic, paid traffic, and that is important. So let's divide your visitors into 3 segments. We know that it's very important to understand the needs of my visitors if I'm building a website or an e-shop, And we can split these visitors into 3 segments. So we have visitors who know exactly what they need or what they want to buy. Then we have those who come to your store and probably know what they need. So for example, somebody needs a new television, comes to your store, but they don't know if it should be a OLED TV or LCD TV or with what size, so you need to help them. And the third segment or third group of visitors are those who are looking for inspiration. So they are maybe not even ready to buy now. They just want to compare the products, to learn something new, to find the product or the perfect gift for their husband. Just try to imagine, what would you do personally if you need to buy a new iPhone? So imagine that you come to a store, you come to an online store, and how would you buy this iPhone? Would you go to the homepage and scroll and find the banners where are the new iPhones or where are discounts for the iPhones? Or would you browse the navigation and try to find the electronics, smartphones, Apple smartphones, and so on? Or would you use the search? Of course, everyone would use the search because that's the fastest way to find a product, right? So it's very important to know about this fact, that the fastest way to find the product that I need or that I want is the search. So as I'm showing here, so the first segment of visitors who know what they need, they use the autocomplete and search. So they just type in what they need and they see instantly the results in the autocomplete, or they press enter and they go to the search results page. It's good to say, or very important to say, that these visitors who use the search have 5 times higher conversion rate. 5 times is a super high number. So compared to the other visitors, it's incredible. So don't forget about this. It tells you how important the search is. Those visitors who probably know what they need, they would prefer to use the category pages, the brand pages. So they use the navigation or they use the search in order to navigate to the correct category. So the case with the iPhones, if somebody would use, for example, the search, they will type iPhone and they will go to the iPhone category and they will find the product that they need. The third group of users are those who look for inspiration, don't have any idea what they need or what they want to buy. So they prefer to use your homepage. So they check the banners there, they check the recommendations, they check the new arrivals, the limited offers. So they are just trying to learn from your offer what is good to buy today, because like it changes in time. So you have a season for something else right now, then you recommend them the products that are really super hot today. So that is the inspiration that they need. So let's dig deeper into the autocomplete search and the other features on the store. So what has the autocomplete to do on your site? So the main purpose of autocomplete is to instantly find the products, the categories, the brands, the articles, or even the stores within your assortment, within your offer. So it's super important to have a fast autocomplete, the autocomplete that can understand even if I make a typo or misspelling. And we see quite often that visitors are using the autocomplete just to check whether the product is available on the store, and they can go to the search results after that. So it's just a proof for them that, okay, so this store has my product, or maybe they have lots of similar products, so let's check all of them. So I press enter, I click on the search or show all products button. It's important to say that if you would like to evaluate your autocomplete, by default, you cannot track this in Google Analytics. So if you're using Google Analytics, you need to set up a custom tracking for autocomplete, because those visitors who would search for running shoes and click on the specific product from the autocomplete results will not end in the segment where you have the used search in Google Analytics. So it's important to do a custom event or segment. What about search results? So this is the page which you can access by pressing enter, clicking the show all products, or you can access from Google as well. So what is important here? The difference between the autocomplete and the search results page is that in the search results page, I'm able to show also filters on the left. We call it facets. I'm able to show more results with more details. So I can show the product with larger picture, with product details, with add to cart button, but also links to brands categories. So it's not just about the products itself, but also about the brands that you offer, as you can see on the picture. One thing to mention, what is really important, that if somebody uses your search and they don't find what they're looking for, in 60% of cases, they will leave your site. So it's very important to have relevant results. 60% means that so more than half of it will leave the site. And of course, you can optimize this number by having more relevant results on the first page. I quite often get a question from the customer that why should I care about search if only 15% of visitors use the search? So it's quite common that the search usage is not that high, right? So why should you care? The answer on this question is that these 15% of visitors can make or generate up to 50% of your total revenue. We have cases where it's over 50%. So these 15 or 20% of visitors generate more than the half of your revenue. The main reason behind this is that the visitors who use the search, they know what they want to buy, and they are more close to the conversion than those who don't use the search. What about product listing, or PLP? It's a product listing page, as you may know. What is different here when we compare the PLP product listing page compared to the search results? So it looks quite similar, right? The biggest differences are in the description, which is for SEO purposes. Then we have the recommendations. So on the top of the list, you have the best sellers, the best deals, most viewed product, and so on. So this is a place where you can recommend the top products, and then you have the results. One more thing that is different on these category pages are the breadcrumbs. So these are the links on the top here, which help the customer to get to the parent category. So if I'm in the attached ceiling lights, I can easily go back to ceiling lights or to interior lighting. So with one click, I get to the parent category and see all the products. What about pagination? We have three types of pagination. We have the infinite scroll, we have the show more button, and we have the regular pagination with the page numbers. What do you think? Which one is the most preferred one? Is there any winner that is used more, is better from the UX perspective, is better for the users, it's better for the business? What do you think? We have made the research about the pagination. I will tell you the results in a while. It's very important to take a look at the pagination and at the product listing from the eyes of your users, so understand their needs. We know that the way how visitors in the fashion and furniture segment are behaving are different than the other segments. So we know that when you are in the fashion store, you expect to see tens, hundreds of results. And it doesn't matter if you don't see the right product on the first position, because you need to compare visually the products, and you need to see tens or hundreds before you make the final decision. The other segments are like Google. So if you are not on the first page, you don't exist. So basically, in consumer electronics and all the other segments, visitors expect to see the right result on the first page. So the winner is a combination of the regular pagination and the show more button. We know that around 10 or 11% of visitors only use the pagination. It's because the reasons I mentioned a minute ago. So once you are willing to have a pagination on your site, if you have more products, definitely go for the combination of pages and show more button. So what about product detail? this is the page that is the most viewed one on your store. So how should it look like? What are the best ways to do the product detail page? So basically, what we see is that usually we split the page to two sections. There is the first section, which is the shopping part, where you have a big picture or more pictures. You have the product name, the short description, you have the price, the stock availability, and add to cart button. And then there is the information part, which is usually below, where you can show recommendations and where you show more details, more parameters about the product. It's very important to say that the recommendations, usually they should find similar items or items that are very close to the one that I'm looking at. So you should not recommend spare parts here because you don't have decided which product would like to buy yet. So definitely on the product detail page, show visually similar items or similar items based on the parameters. What about shopping cart? So once somebody chooses the product that he or she likes, they add it to the product cart or to the shopping cart, and right now they just need to finish the purchase. So the main purpose of the product shopping cart is to finish what I have added to my cart, so finish the purchase. On the first page, it's important to focus on the recommendations of, we call it cross-sell recommendation, where you can add a few more small or cheaper products into the cart. So you have the main product, these running shoes in your cart, and you can buy socks for the running shoes, right? So or something what is a lot cheaper than the main product. So once you are building the recommendations here, have in mind that the recommended products should be cheaper than the main product, and it's very important that those products should be combined together. So the way how we build the recommendations, or how we suggest to build recommendations, is to check which products are being bought together. And the second important thing here is to have like different products in the recommendations. So you should not have four green socks, but you should have a sock, you should have something else there. So you need to diversify between the products. So once you proceed to the next step, so usually the shopping cart has 3 steps. Once you proceed to the next step, it's important simply to focus on finishing the purchase. So when we compare these 2 pages, you see that on the shopping cart, you still have navigation on top. If you go to the next page, the shipping and payment, the navigation is hidden. So you can only continue and finish the purchase. So the main purpose here is not to distract the customer. So you don't want them to leave this page anymore. And then there's the shipping data step, or the last step, and then they'll just confirm the purchase, and that's it. So let's sum up. What do we know about the page types? So which page types are the most important ones, or those with the highest traffic? So there's the product page, which has 30% of page views. Category page or brand page, which has 25%, search results around 10%, homepage 10%, and shopping cart 10%. So have this in mind when you're optimizing your store, because you cannot do everything at once. So you need to choose which pages would you focus on first and which would you do later. So this was the desktop. What about mobile? We know that all of us have mobile phones. So when I would ask this question 15 years ago, maybe not all of us would have the phone, but right now we spend a lot of time, several hours a day, on our mobile phones. We know that almost 55% of visitors use mobile on average. So if you have a website, you can check it in Google Analytics, but it's important to say that why do they use the mobile? So what are the activities that they do on the mobile? One of the very popular activity on mobile is doing a pre-purchase research. So me personally, if my wife asked me to go to IKEA once a year, maybe, or once and a half year, what we do usually the evening before we go to IKEA is that we do a so-called pre-purchase research. So we check the products that we like, we make a short list, and we pick these 5-10 products that we really like. And the next day we go in person to the store and check the products physically, like in real life. How did it look like? Because sometimes the pictures can be different than real life. So we made a short list the day before. We use the mobile version of the site. We use the search. We use the navigation in order to find the products that we might like. You can do this exercise after this webinar, where you can check whether your mobile website is easy to use for the customers. So if you take your mobile phone, you open your website, and you try to click all the call to action buttons that are important on your store. And if the CTAs, the call to action buttons, are within the green area on what I'm sharing right now, then they are easy to tap. The yellow area shows where you can still tap with your thumb, but it's harder to reach. And the red area is super hard to reach. So you need to use your second hand to tap on the elements within the red area. So make this exercise on your own. Open your website, check whether the CTAs are within the green or yellow area. If not, just think about how to change it in order to improve the user experience for your users. So what about the layout? What is important on the mobile website? So the screen size is limited. You cannot place everything there, right? So you need to choose what is important. The logo on the top part of the screen, the top left or top middle, usually is being used to get back to the homepage. So it should be clickable to take the visitor back to the homepage. Then we have the hamburger menu. So usually you have a huge navigation, a mega menu on your store on desktop, and you need to fit it somewhere on the mobile. So we use the hamburger menu. Then you have the shopping cart, which is important, so you can get to the desired products which you've chosen. And of course, the search. It is important to show the search always on top, or at least visible in the top of your website, because if the search is hidden in the hamburger menu, there is a very low chance that somebody will use it. How should the search look like? So what happens when I tap the search field? It is important that once I tap the search field, I should show the keyboard instantly. So I don't need to tap it once again when I open the search window. So definitely with one tap, I open the keyboard and I can start typing what I need. Usually we see that it performs very well if you show the top selling products, top selling items, even without typing anything. So opening the search box will suggest you the best products that you have. It can be also personalized. So what is important in the layout of the autocomplete? We know that the screen size is limited, and you are showing the products, the categories, brands, articles, and so on. And it's really hard to fit on the small screen. So we recommend to use the tabs. So as you can see on the screen, you have a tab for products, different tab for categories, brand, articles, and so on and so on. So the user can navigate easily between the result types, and they don't need to scroll for several seconds to get to the bottom of the list. Of course, it's important to show also queries. So when I start typing IP, I finish iPhone, right? So I can easily tap the iPhone query and I go to the search results for iPhone. What I observed during the last 2 years, that when we had COVID, I mean, when COVID was trending, that many of people were searching for D3 vitamin. The important fact about D3 is that it is only 2 letters. The D3 is only 2 letters long. And usually the regular search engines didn't show any results when you typed less than 3 letters. So a lot of eShops had problems with showing D3 vitamin for the users who needed this vitamin in order to prevent COVID, because it was shorter than 3 letters. So definitely it's important for you to understand what do your visitors search for, what is your your product portfolio, what are you offering, and your search queries should reflect all the possibilities of search terms. One more thing not to forget is about the way how your visitors are buying products on your store. So if you are offering products which usually visitors buy periodically each week, then it's great if you can add an add to cart button to the results in the autocomplete. So if you are a grocery store and I'm buying the same milk each week, so why should I go to the search results page and product detail? I should add this milk to my shopping cart right from the results of the autocomplete. So if you are selling products that are being bought like several times a year, then add this button to the results. So let's sum up what we have learned so far. So I will just pick 5 most important things from this presentation that you should remember tomorrow. First of all, remember that you don't have your shop assistant on your online store. So once somebody is frustrated that he or she couldn't find what they're looking for, probably they will leave your store and go somewhere else. They can use Google to find the product on your store, or they can go somewhere else to your competitor maybe. Second thing, it's important to remember that traffic source matters. So if you are evaluating the conversion rate, the quality of your eShop, try to distinguish between the traffic sources. So if the average is bad, it doesn't mean that the shop is bad. The traffic can be bad. Third one, search usage doesn't mean the size of the impact. So if there is a low search usage, it doesn't have to mean that the impact of the search is low. Remember the case where we had 15% of usage and that generated more than half of the revenue of the whole store. Fourth point, product detail can be more important than the homepage. Of course, you can check this in your Google Analytics to check the product types and to check the traffic, but it's important to focus on the most important pages in your store because you can't do everything at once. Fifth, we use mobile. All of us use mobile. So please focus on these visitors because they are changing the world now. So all of the users that they use in mobile, they expect to have the same experience as on Google or as on desktop. So focus on mobile. Thank you very much. So I'm happy to answer your questions right now. So if you have any, just type in the chat here, and I will go one by one. Okay, so I see forms here. Okay, so that was maybe answered to some questions. Details, card search. Yeah, that was the poll. So here's the first question: how to build filters on search results if we have around 50 of them? Yeah, so very good question. It's Martin. Okay, hi Martin. Well, so it's very important to understand what does the user search for and to show the filters accordingly. So first of all, you should understand what is the query. So if I'm searching for shoes, then maybe I should show the size, the brand, the color, the material, right? If I search for t-shirt, then I don't show the size of the shoe, but size of the t-shirt, maybe the material is more important, and the color, price. So basically, there is a way how to build dynamic filters. So based on the search query, you should pick the most important ones. And what we actually do is that we analyze how the usage of filters affects the conversion rate. So once we learn that for the t-shirts, everybody is checking the material, and if somebody chooses the material, some specific one, and he converts more, we will learn that this filter is super important in the decision making of the visitor. So we can reorder the filters accordingly. So my tip for you is to focus on the search queries, try to understand which filters are being used, and try to reorder them dynamically and put those on top, which are really super important. I don't recommend to do it manually because like you have hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of queries, so you can do it manually. and you need a way to how to change it. So basically using some automation for this would help you. I hope that I answered the question. If you need more details, just raise your hand or write in the chat. Okay, second question. Have you noticed some real life example where one button totally messed up user experience? Real life example of this. I'm just thinking out loud. Well, there's this example of the sign up button that was Best Buy like 15 years ago, if you remember. This was the 300 million button that Best Buy wanted the users to sign up before they make a purchase. So that was something that messed up the whole experience. And when they removed this sign up button, they've earned 300 million. But some other example, I don't have any in mind, so I can get back to you after the webinar if something comes up my mind. My experience, moving a button 2 centimeters higher created clear leave a review section and reviews increased by 40%. Wow, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing this. So I will check it once again after the webinar. Okay, Peter asks, how about instant results when I mobile interface and slow search fulfillment? How to handle that? Okay, how about instant results when I mobile interface? So probably you are asking about the instant results on mobile, and how does this search speed affect maybe the quality of the experience? So there is a rule that usually we say that autocomplete should show results in tens of milliseconds or hundreds of milliseconds, and search the same. So it should be somewhere between 100 and 200 milliseconds, because if it's slower, it affects the conversion rate. So yeah, that's about the speed. How to make the speed better? So it's good to know which filters you need to use, for example, because if you have more filters, it slows down the search request. So there are ways how to optimize it, but first of all, you need to measure it. So make a measurement, and based on this, you can improve it. Isn't conversion rate related to balanced by the traffic poor grade? Isn't conversion rate related to or balanced by the traffic? Of course, that was the point that I mentioned in the presentation, that it's really super important to focus on different traffic sources. So if you have for example, organic traffic source, usually these visitors are more eager to use the search because they land on the homepage, for example, and they usually is the same starting point. And for those who know what they need, they will use the search, for example, and then the conversion rate is a lot higher. If you take a look at the visitors who come from the paid traffic, they can land maybe on a product detail page or on some pages, which in that case, they don't need to use a search, for example, because they come for the specific product. Of course, the newsletter can have a high conversion rate because you have made this decision already in the newsletter itself. So you saw the product, you saw the price, you saw the listing of other products, and you picked the one that you liked. So you are more close to the conversion. So it's super important to focus on the traffic source and to distinguish between traffic sources. We tried to use personalized recommenders in our fashion store, but they did not work out because of low traffic. What would you recommend us to do, or how to improve the recommendations? e.g. Yeah, personalization it's one topic that we didn't touch in the presentation. I believe that we will cover this in the following webinars. What I would recommend here is that the recommendations usually work in two or three ways. So there is a way where you can compare the parameters and the structured data about products. So if I'm looking at the shoe, I can recommend different shoes of the same size, of the same color, same brand, maybe same material. Then the second part of the recommender can work with the visual similarity. So if I have a product picture, I can find visually similar products to the one that I'm looking at. The second way, and the third way is about behavioral data. So if you know that you or a lot of people like you did this, then you recommend that, right? So for this third part of recommendations, you need more data. So you need to have higher traffic. But even if you have low traffic, you still can do the recommendations based on the parameters or based on the visual similarity. So I believe I answered the question. Then, many products have CTA buttons at the bottom of mobile screens. Due to the green area you showed, this should be more central in the screen. Is that right? Yes, so definitely make this exercise. Like the green area was also like maybe in the center and the bottom of the screen, but not on the very bottom. So it's good not to have it on the very bottom of the screen, definitely. So you should have it somewhere in the middle or lower middle part of the screen. But yeah, it's different maybe on screens where you can scroll, because if you have it even on the bottom, you still can scroll a little bit on top and you'll get this button to the middle. So there is a way how to click on the button, but maybe harder is it when you have like something on top of the screen, because it never gets to the middle, you know. So you need to yeah, just to place the button, as you mentioned, more in the center and lower center. I will just maybe stop the screen sharing. Wait a second. Stop share this way. Okay. So back to questions. Hi guys, we are struggling with lowering our bounce rate for more than a year already. Do you have any tips on what to do differently? So much. I think it's a hard question, and I'm not sure if I can give an appropriate answer on this, but yeah, the bounce rate is a metric that was in UA in Universal Analytics, but it's not used anymore in GA4. So regarding bounce rate, definitely it's affected by the traffic source. So you should check which traffic source has the highest bounce rate, or which has higher than the average, and focus on this source and try to understand why do the visitors bounce. So check the message that they read before coming to your site, check the campaign, check the articles that are leading to your site, and try to evaluate this. But yeah, so I would say that this will be a topic for until the next June, but from June on 2023, there will be no bounce rate, because in GA4 there is no bounce rate. Have you noticed users confusion in wording between sign up, sign in, login buttons? Sign up, sign in. Personally, I don't have any data on this, so I can't answer this, but we can check it with our team, with my team, and get back to you, Victoria. Good question, but I think it doesn't make a difference, but definitely it's a way. There is a way how to check it, so you can test it, but we can check the details if you have any answer on this question. I noticed that the hamburger icons cause information architectural challenges when it comes to URLs and index pages. What is your view on this? Yeah, good question. Thank you for this, Mikhail. So we are talking about mobile view. So you're maybe pointing to the fact that when you click on the hamburger menu, the URL doesn't change, right? So you are staying on the same URL, but you are seeing a different page. There is a way how to do it, so you can change the URL after clicking the hamburger menu, but I'm not sure if I have enough data for this question and for the answer. So I think it's maybe more to SEO related and also the Google rank, that how it affects your ranking if you are changing the visual part of the screen without changing the URL. So good question. I can get back to you, Mikhail. So I can't answer this right now. Do you think voice search may become a significant trend in searching? Good question, Piotr. So voice search is something that's been on the market for a couple of years already. We see Alexa, we see a lot of vendors that do the voice search, and we see that even on the mobile phones, you are able to start the voice search by the native button, which is in iOS or in Android. The difference between using this voice search, I mean the translation from voice to text instead of the voice search within the store, is that you are not using the capabilities of AI that can understand that it's a speech. So the basic speech to text from iOS or Android just translate the speech to text, and it searches for a text query. But if you will do it on the website itself, then the website should know that you use the voice, and you can behave differently. So you can understand it differently than the written speech. So I think it's more like a trend. I mean, there's something new on the market, right? So for last 2 years, but it still doesn't have the significance that would improve the conversion rate or the purchase on the store. So it's a nice feature to be different from the competitors, but it doesn't have that much impact yet on the conversion rate. It's good from my point of view if you can use the voice to find more products at once. So if you read a shopping list and the voice search can understand that you are looking for these 5 products, so you will just show these 5 in the search results. So that can help because you don't need to find it one by one, but you will just read 5 products. So that is the use case that I think would make sense in terms of voice search. Maciej, is there a chance to get the recording of this call for the colleagues? Yes. So there will be a recording and we will share it after the webinar, definitely. I would like to recommend this webinar to a friend. Recording. Yes, there will be a recording, the same question. We try to use personal. I think this question was already asked, Luigi. We tried to use personalized recommenders in our fashion store, but it didn't work out because of low traffic. So didn't I answer the question, or you just asked it once again? Okay, so I think this was already answered. So if there are no more questions, thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you will join the next webinar soon. Bye.